the North-South issue. States like UP, Bihar, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, high fertility rates. The southern states, which is Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, low fertility rates. Now, this is causing a kind of a demographic divergence. What is your view? How is this going to impact now on the polity?
I am grateful to the populations of Uttar Pradesh and Bihar for continuing to produce children.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because that's what is keeping the demographic balance still in our favor. But for them, if you've gone subnuclear in the south, in terms of your family structure, what is the replacement ratio that you're looking at? Less than 2.
Yeah.
So recently somebody quoted this figure.
But this is even Muslims are producing less.
No, that's where you're getting exactly what I was coming to. Drop in fertility rate doesn't translate to having the same or similar numbers. From 3 to 2 or 4 to 2 is different from 10 to 6.
Okay.
So you're looking at it from a percentage point perspective, but it still translates to significant outproduction in terms of actual numbers. Okay?
Got it.
So that makes no argument. When someone says the fertility rates are dropping, that doesn't tell you the actual picture. It only means if somebody was producing 10, it has come down to 5. But if someone was producing 4 and has come down to less than 2, what do you think is worse? This argument doesn't cut ties. I'm sorry to say, I think people are making fools of us. Yeah. I know where this argument is. It smells and reeks of Hyderabadi biryani here. So,
Okay.
So I know that this is this absolutely illogical argument. I don't know which madrasa he learnt his mathematics from.
Yeah.
That's not how this works. Okay, this is not, I'm sorry, it's such a lousy argument to make. So therefore, this argument has no water whatsoever. So if we are subsidizing the populations of the north for producing people who can at least replace us in equal numbers, if not more, there's nothing wrong with it. Because that's the very same population that is sending you the migrant workforce.
Correct.
You can't say all of us will be white collared, but who's going to do the construction? And when they come, you start treating them like dehumanized labor. That's wrong.
But the chief ministers of the southern states are saying that they are coming and putting pressure
we
on
should
our
be very careful about
infrastructure.
this. We should be very careful about making this statement. Allow me to actually calibrate this. There is no unanimous monochromatic position in the south on the subject. Because the south is not represented by Tamil Nadu alone.
Telangana chief minister has also said that I don't have money now because...
Has TDP said this?
No.
Has Pawan Kalyan said this?
No, in fact, TDP has said have more children. Babu said that have more children.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that means there is a certain ideology or a mindset that is hell-bent on pushing some kind of a wedge between the north and the south, citing this as one of those reasons. Will they then put some kind of restriction on the movement of labor? Then let's see who will implement the infrastructure projects. Where will they get the people from? They won't. We should stop saying this about people from Bihar and Uttar Pradesh. That's wrong. It's not right.
They are borrowing from the Trump playbook, no?
Yeah.
That we'll hire locals, why should we hire migrants?
See, the point is this.
They're calling them migrants, though
Then
they're
let's give the
Indians.
response which Trump has been getting in his own country.
I'm just playing the devil's
I get
advocate.
that.
I don't believe in it. But
I get that. My point is, if that's the case, if locals were up to the task and they were available, they would have done the job. Nobody is working as hard as them, at least as far as these tasks are concerned. Nobody is working as cheap as them. And the poor people are putting up with inhuman treatment. I don't need to be a spokesperson for Biharis and Uttar Pradeshis, but my point is they are Indians at the end of the day. And if you start playing into this nonsense, then tomorrow we'll have huge issues. These discordant notes will work to the advantage of external actors within this country. I use the words very carefully here, who will then ask them to join their group. What do you do then? If there is a disgruntled group far away from its home, which is getting inhuman treatment, who do you think is waiting on the sidelines to यहाँ आ जाओ, दूसरे घर में आ जाओ, घर वापसी मत करो, यहाँ पे आ जाओ, बोलने के लिए तो लोग तैयार हैं यहाँ पे. Then that big picture I will never lose sight of. These voices which have emerged in the South don't represent the people of the South.
Even if they're so sure.
No, because I'm talking to people. I am not affiliated with any political organization or even an ideological organization, for God's sakes, and God's here being in plural. I don't. I'm talking to people across the board. I have had members of the youth cadre from the most virulent of Dravidist factions coming to my office and telling me, sir, we don't disagree with you. We don't think like them.
Them bole to?
Like the Dravidian ideologues. We are not anti-Hindus. They've spoken, they've discussed. So Stop treating the entire South, even and let's say some of these organizations, as monoliths. There are factions within.
So there are identity debates which are happening even within
Even
those
within,
groups.
for sure.
Okay.
Yes. If there was a point when the DMK took pride in, let's say, taking out processions of Sri Ram with Chapalmala around, and then you have the former finance minister of DMK basically saying, we actually consult the astrologer before we go for a swearing in ceremony.
But that is so typical.
No, it's not just typical. I'm just saying finally they are talking at least about it. There is a change. They know that they can't stop this anymore. There is only two options. Let's say there are only two options available in the South, at least in Tamil Nadu. Go hard Dravidinist, or realize that there's another tide coming, because the harder you go, you're actually opening the space for another ideology. So they'll have to find a center space. That's happening in pop culture, that's happening across the board. May not be at the same pace at which I want it. But what I'm trying to say is, people of the South are not like this. This is not how we operate. This is honestly not how we operate as Bharatiyas at all. And people of the South are not different from the Bharatiya civilization. So we need to be very careful about who we give the label of being the spokesperson of the South. I will not encourage that at all.
Not of the South, but every chief minister saying it, in the sense that they are talking about identity politics. They're talking about language issues, that, they come in and they talk in Hindi. It's happening in Karnataka. It's happening in Tamil Nadu. It's not so much in Andhra as far as language is concerned.
Right.
Andhra, United Andhra.
Right.
It's not so much there. But in these two states, it's language. In the other states, it could be something else. But it is causing, this north-south divide is causing trouble.
See, the problem is when you mix gold with copper, which is, some of the issues are legitimate in terms of, let's say, loss of local identity. In the name of cosmopolitanism, the culture of Bangalore has changed. And they have those legitimate grievances where they're saying that at least learn a language. And I think we had this conversation in one of our previous
earlier
podcasts,
episodes,
right?
yes.
So that's there. But then it gets rolled and avalanched into a political position by someone else who sees a vested interest in driving a wedge between the North and the South. Okay? Which is why some of our organizations, including, let's say, either ideological organizations or state units of the BJP or someone else, should step in and start a counter movement. Everything can't come from the center. Some of these issues are local. In fact, if the center were to give a response to this, then it will be seen as a behemoth taking on a David. Okay? State units must talk about this. Localize the issue as much as possible. Let there be local voices to handle these issues, because they need to hear someone and see someone who they can relate to. It can't be someone from Delhi all the time. So I think that's something that you need to try. I'll give you a simpler example. Mr. Annamalai actually represented a fantastic response mechanism, notwithstanding whatever happened in elections, whose reasons I am not best positioned to analyze. He did a fantastic job of countering that propaganda. Every time they said the center has done nothing for us, he would actually explain it. Create more such voices on the ground. Ultimately, I don't need to teach a politician that messaging is half the battle won. Articulation is half the battle won. Where are you doing this when it comes to sensitive issues? If you think that none of this will have an electoral outcome at some stage, you're myopic. It will.
The other debate that keeps happening, which we referred to earlier, was that the South Indian states saying
Indians
that
from the southern states
saying that why should we reward the North, which is producing more people but not paying taxes? We pay more taxes. Why should we be funding the North states which are poor? For example, Bihar,
Right.
the direct benefit transfers that are happening in Bihar, that happened before the election. So the South states get really irritated with this.
So I think it was, again, I'll have to come back to one of the scintillating discussions and expositions by Mr. Annamalai, where he explained how the industrial revolution of Tamil Nadu was significantly subsidized by resources and policies where the North was playing, let's say, the role of the younger brother, where they willingly took that hit. Okay? There are times when you can think like a state, and there are times when I think you have to think like a country. And here I'm borrowing certain lines from the West Wing. Okay? What I'm trying to say is, you have to stop saying that we are paying or we are generating more. You cannot hope to exist as a state because you don't have the resources to exist as a state, whether it's water or anything else.
Defense
For that matter, you're right. So therefore, to say that my GDP as a state is a barometer of how independently I can survive, no, not possible. If you had existed as an island or a different country altogether, you wouldn't last a minute, security wise or otherwise. You'd be gobbled up by the powers here. So, if you have to pay some price for existing as part of a union to protect your Tamil identity or your Telugu identity, perfectly fine, do it. There's nothing wrong with it. These are our people. There is a lot more that you get in return. Any day, I would be happy to be surrounded by Biharis and Uttar Pradesh, people of Uttar Pradesh who are from my civilization as opposed to Bangladeshis. There I've said it. I'm clear about it. I'm talking about Bangladeshis, so I don't think people should have a problem. Right? I said adherents of my civilization. I didn't identify anything in particular. So the answer stands there. You will not survive a minute. Please realize that the subcontinent is at the crossroads of the second big game, the second great game. No part of Bharat is untouched by it. Northeast, Punjab, Kashmir, the south, and you're providing even more elements from the south.
So we're getting new players to the new great game, or the same players with a different strategy?
China was not a part of this before until the Maoist revolution. Now it has joined the fray. Right? And I can never be sure of one group's, let's say one nation's support, which I think is playing both sides. A small nation in the Middle East. I don't know where it is currently right now. Maybe there are two sides to it. It has a genuine face to it. And I don't want to bank on anyone's support for my survival. I am going to observe at this point the policy of circumspection until proven otherwise.
Okay.
It's an issue to issue, policy to policy, situation to situation analysis. But I'm very clear that this entity has to be protected from everyone around.
Okay, let me rewind a little bit. We were talking about this fiscal federalism, right? Do you think that the tax devolution in this country is fair? Again, I'm talking about the states from the south who say that it's unfair. I'm coming back towards that. So, do you think that the trajectories are so diverse now, or divergent rather, that we need a new policy on this?
See, considering that a significant portion of your workforce is coming from the north, how do you actually make this statement?
Yeah.
How do you make this statement? Okay, I'll say this. I hope I don't get slippered for this at some point, and nobody throws ink on my face.
I love the term slippered.
Which is Mumbai is built by Parsis, Sindhis, and Gujaratis to a large extent, with the workforce coming from Maharashtrians to some extent, and from Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, and across the board. Who gets to say who has contributed to this? Who gets to say that? Okay. Even today, the better part of Telangana infrastructure comes from Andhra investments and people from a so-called Andhra origin. What do you do then? Coimbatore, the bulk of its businesses are run by Kamavari Naidus or Balija Naidus. I know this. I've studied in the place. I know exactly who Balija Naidus or Kamavari Naidus are. These are people who are remnants of the Vijayanagar Empire. They are generals who have stayed back.
Okay.
How do you want to make this argument then? Similarly, if you go to parts of Madras, the Marwadis, the Saurashtrians, one of the most well-known singers of Tamil film industry, T.M. Soundararajan, was a Kutchi, was a Saurashtrian, was not a Tamilian.
Okay.
MGR was a Sri Lankan Malayali, not Tamil. Right? Jayalalitha was a Mysore Iyengar. What exactly are you talking about? How do you hope to actually say that this contribution is exclusive to this particular group?
Or the Marwadis of West Bengal.
Correct.
So
you go to Madurai, I remember Srimati M.S. Subbulakshmi setting up a charitable foundation or contributing, I think, a portion of her proceeds to a school run by Saurashtrians in Madurai. So I don't think this helps. This argument doesn't help. Since I'm not a finance or a tax expert, if someone says that this distribution, the way this is happening, doesn't seem to incentivize growth on the part of some people and puts the emphasis on growth on others, that's not an argument I will dismiss. I get that point. Let that be a fiscal argument. Let that be an administrative argument. Don't bring regionalism into that argument.
it is going to happen. This is going to blow up in 2026 with the delimitation exercise. This regionalism.
Politicians will do this. We have to push back. We have to push back.
We bole to kaun?
The common people with voices. I am not going to labor under the impression that I don't have a voice anymore. I do. Why will I actually act falsely modest? I have a voice and therefore I will use it to say this is wrong. Wherever I can push back, I will. Wherever I have good relations with people across political parties, I will tell them, don't do this nonsense. I may not be a member, and that helps me maintain good relations with people to tell them this is wrong.
So you feel that this fear that the states in the south have, that the delimitation exercise which is going to take place in 2026 will change India's federal balance and to the detriment of south or the southern states?
I'll plead ignorance on that. I don't know. I don't know on what basis that is said. I don't have a position one way or another. If that's a statement that is made for rhetorical consumption without data to back it, I don't know.
It's population, right?
See, here's the thing.
That's going to be the main base.
See, let's put it this way. Synchronized census taking exercise in this country started in 1881. And ever since, there's been a tradition of holding it every 10 years. But it's not a constitutional mandate in that sense. So what happens usually is, you take census, then you go for a delimitation based on the population so that there is a proper representation, so on and so forth. You do that exercise. Okay? If ultimately the southern states are going to pay the price for it, it's largely because they have suffered what I call the curse of white collarization. It's not something that's got to do with what the north is doing or the south is doing. I'll explain this.
That was supposed to be progressive.
At one point, that was actually presented as the goal. Now, world over, we are being told, sorry, we need to produce more. Whether it's Europe or Japan, everywhere else. We are being told this. Europe is a falling civilization partly because of its aging as well. They don't have the will. There is no genetic will to fight back.
Yeah.
That's a reality.
But it's happening in Asia too.
Correct.
Not just in Europe. It's happening.
China.
Yeah, China. It's happening in Japan.
Correct.
In all.
Correct.
Yeah.
So if you're able to send this larger message, that's a different issue. Or can we try and compensate the southern states in a different way for producing this? But here's what I would suggest. In my view, the southern model, despite its progress on the development front, is not the ideal model from a demographic front. Okay? And sending the cream of your talent to California and then focusing on trying to retain whatever you have here in smaller numbers, that's not how you're going to protect your civilization. Okay? So if I were speaking for the South as a member of the South living in the North, I'll basically say, maybe you should introspect and ask yourself if your model is exactly correct. Is it the right model to follow? Because if that's the case, why is it that you're on the losing side when it comes to the demographic battle? That's the ultimate battle. And if there are members of the North who are willing to take that burden, why don't you think of this as subsidizing them, something that you've failed to do?
It's because of the demographic change that Owaisi's party did so well in Bihar, right?
Thank you for making my point. Thank you for making my point. If I had said that, one more label.
No, but that's it. In the earlier election, he didn't. And this time in the election...
Which are those districts? Why?
Yeah.
What happened there?
Yeah, so earlier they saw Congress as an alternative. They thought that they will give the voice. But that wasn't the case. So a Hyderabadi Muslim can get voters to vote for his party.
His staunchest political opponents at this point will be the Congress and the Samajwadi Party.
Yeah, because he's eating up...
He's their replacement.
Yeah, he's tried so hard in Uttar Pradesh, it did not succeed. But
It's a matter
riding
of
on the
time.
victory of Bihar, it's going to happen.
100% it will happen.
And it's not just him. There will be another representative soon.
Don't be surprised if Chandrasekhar, Ravan and Owaisi ally at some point. Don't be surprised. There will be a confluence of interests. There are very clear definitions of who is the outgroup, who they wish to oppose and what they wish to oppose. Okay, so that will also happen at some point. So my point is that members of the South should not take pride in their falling numbers. And they should seriously ask themselves, is a decent, healthy demographic at loggerheads with development? The model that you need to bring down your numbers in order for you to have better infrastructure is completely false. I am not pushing for overpopulation, but there is something that Anand recently said in one of his brilliant expositions from the stage, that you have to test the strength of a country's ability to feed its population, not by its overall population, but population density. And he said we are just 7th in the world, which means in terms of overall arable land, if you take the population and the land available for us, we are only 7th in the world. So it's a question of urban planning. It's a question of distribution of population. It's a question of learning how to handle migrant workforce. It's a question of asking yourself, is rapid urbanization everywhere good, or do you try and provide opportunities for people to stay in their places as opposed to calling all of them to Mumbai and the usual suspects? That is the issue that you must be focusing on, as opposed to saying, how do you bring the numbers down? This is not the time for us to bring our numbers down. Especially when the world is losing its numbers, you have a demographic dividend and you have an opportunity finally in the historic time window to make your presence felt. This is not the time to grow old.
Yeah. So we keep saying that our youth bulge is our strength, but our aging population is also there.
Correct.
Tell me where we are, Ryan.
In terms of
And what do you see as, how long do you think this youth bulge is going to be our strength?
20 years.
That's it.
That's it. 20
And
to 25 years.
This is the time we have to plan.
We have to
and
plan.
to put in action. Not just plan.
What I
We should
suggested.
have done
Exactly.
planning earlier.
So, if this is the 25-year window you have your security challenges, your internal threats and your external threats, all of them converging. So now is not the time for what Sri Aurobindo called Chakshulajja.
What's that?
Political correctness, the fear of being shamed.
Oh.
Oh, चार लोग क्या कहेंगे, media कहेगी, left वाले क्या कहेंगे. No.
What Europe is going through right now.
Correct. They can't even defend themselves.
Yeah. And even though they have pressures like on pensions, on housing, on everything, I mean, shortages, everything they're having right now. But they have
Nobody
to be
with
correct.
money wants to live in the UK
Tell
anymore.
me the term again.
Chakshulajja. Chakshu is
Chakshu,
eyes.
Lajja, shame.
Shame. Which is the fear of people, or the fear of, let's say, of
Log kya kahenge?
Log kya kahenge, that's it. Correct. That's it. The point I was making is, in London and better parts of UK, the local population is fleeing if they have money. They say, we don't wish to live here anymore because of demographic change. That's a country with still 89% white population. But they don't have a glue anymore. What is the glue? National pride. My discussions with locals there tells me, and I made at least 2 trips extensively talking to people across communities.
Oh, yes. I want to talk to you about the debate, the famous debate too.
We'll come
to that. Huh?
They don't know what they're fighting for. They don't know what they're preserving. So they're saying, what is the point? What are we exactly fighting? Because finally the colonizer has lost his sense of history. It's over. It's game,
One
set and
part
match.
of me, I'm feeling good about it also.
I'm feeling terribly good about it, except that we should have been the replacements. It's worse.
Huh.
Okay.
They've lost, the whole idea whenever Indians would go to these countries, it was the public space that we used to love, right? That you can walk anywhere, you can cycle anywhere.
Sulabh Shauchalaya smells
what-
better than Paris at this point. This is what I'm told. It's a public urinal. Paris smells so bad. These guys don't have any moral right, or let's say the authority to pontificate to us anymore.
That Champs-Élysées area was supposed to be the poshest and the most romantic place. Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Their New Year celebrations get cancelled. Their Christmas. Germany, everywhere. Poland,
Belgium,
Sweden.
Luxembourg, it's gone. Netherlands is gone.
Yeah.
And London is, and I think recently, 7 to 8 major councils and counties of UK have Pakistani Muslims as their mayors. What do you think will be the voice of the rest of the people there? Nothing. No way.
And the grooming gangs.
They can't even speak out against it.
Yeah.
You're
called racist if you speak out against grooming gangs.
And now this very same exercise is being repeated in Michigan and Dearborn in the United States. It has started there.
Yeah.
Texas.
They're representatives. I mean, forget about common people. Even their representatives are like that.
And in public council meetings, when somebody airs a legitimate apprehension, he's called an Islamophobe and he's shut up in America. Okay? I think we have enough examples to learn
And
from.
Trump can do
Nothing. He can do nothing. I see. The point is, at best, he was a necessary evil to replace the woke agenda. But I think, unfortunately, America is stuck with such an option where I don't think he sees anything beyond himself or hears anything beyond himself.
But even Europe, no, they had so many right-wing governments. They also couldn't do anything.
Because the larger population has gone woke. And everyone who tries to resist it, the weight of European history falls on them like a ton of bricks because they're quickly branded far-right and Nazi. And unfortunately for them, they don't seem to have a movement of conservatism that is completely divorced from the Nazi history in certain parts.
And also right-wing governments, when they come to power, for some odd reason, want validation from the left. Why?
That seems to be a universal phenomenon, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I don't think Bharat is an exception to it.
Correct. I agree with you completely. I agree with you completely.
We will launch their books while they keep calling us as people who don't have intellect to take them on. I don't know what to say.
Yeah. Namaste, Jai Hind. You're watching ANI podcast with Smita Prakash.
अगर हम उसको मस्जिद कहेंगे तो फिर विवाद होगा।
The issue is टूटा है क्या भारत?
400 पार का मतलब ये है कि संविधान खतरे में है।
क्या हम लोग ये निर्देश देते हैं कि फला को गिरफ्तार करके जेल डाल दें?
वही तो कह रहे हैं सब।
ये बेबुनियाद निराधार आरोप।
सच्चा सुनना चाहो देखो स्मिता प्रकाश ANI, it does not lie।